Hey, it's Dr. Karen Can. Welcome to this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest. It's called Salt Crazy. But before we get into that topic, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button if you are not already subscribed to this channel, and perhaps the notification bell so every time I do a new video, you'll be notified. So this week's topic is Salt Crazy. And you're like, well, what's this guy do with spiritual stuff? Well, initially I was like, I have no idea. Well, let me tell you what happened. So in the spring, I won a trip to Aruba. Thank you very much, LifeWave. And when I was there, I had difficulty pooping. Yes. And I thought, well, I'll just increase my magnesium. That did not work, which was quite shocking. But then I remember I just finished reading the book, The Salt Fix, from Dr. James DiNicolantonio. Whew, got that name right. I say that 3 times fast. Anyway, he talked about how we're taught to do low salt diets. And I definitely, as a medical student, was taught that salt was bad. And that, if you have high blood pressure, you got to tell all your patients to cut out the salt. Well, come to find out, the data does not support that. Now, of course, I still do believe that table salt is a toxin, the way that it is bleached and purified, so to speak. Whereas natural salt, such as Celtic sea salt, Redmond's salt, sea salt, Himalayan Crystal Salt, has lots of different minerals, and the structure, the three-dimensional crystalline structure is very different in the salt compared to regular table salt, which is just sodium chloride. And although Dr. James doesn't go into the three-dimensional sacred geometric structures of salt, he talks a lot about the data of salt. So after reading his book, I literally was like, okay, give me some salt. And I downed a teaspoon, yes, a whole teaspoon, of salt with water twice a day. And within the first day, boop, I pooped. So happy, so happy. So, and the funny thing is since coming back, I went kind of salt crazy, like literally drinking plain water with salt, and rarely now drink plain water at all, fascinatingly. Now, after I came back, it was kind of a whirlwind. I had the Light Warrior training camp and lost my voice. Thank you, deep healing reaction. And to this day, I still have a slightly raspy voice, interestingly. And I had to drink lots and lots of salt. If I did not drink enough salt, my lungs would actually feel tight, like asthmatic, although I've never been asthmatic, but it was very interesting. I'm like, what is that? I'm recovering, I'm detoxifying from this, conflict shock from 3 years ago, and I'm having a long healing reaction and not feeling necessarily all that good. But when I drank lots of salt water, it's like my breathing opened up. It was fascinating. Now, in his book, he does talk about, all sorts of diseases. I'm not going to talk about that right here, but how they actually get better with salt, even high blood pressure. Now, of course, I'm not your personal medical doctor, so, I have to say on YouTube, on public, to check with your medical practitioner. I do think that you would be really well served reading the Salt Fix book. Yes, it's from a medical doctor, but it's from a medical doctor who's done a lot of research and a lot of history, very interesting history, about the whole low salt diet thing. So what's very interesting is when I was asking source, what am I going to talk about? And automatically it was like salt. I was like, okay, well, why is that spiritual? Well, look it up. The spiritual aspects of salt, or salt and spirituality, and you will find some interesting articles. So salt is considered some form of purity or purification. Now, we know the health benefits of salt, especially things like Himalayan Crystal Salt. Barbara Hendel, who's an MD in Germany, wrote a beautiful book called Water and Salt. You can get that on Amazon and at HimalayanCrystalSalt.com. And in this book, she talks about, the platonic solids and frequency and energy. And she was talking my language. It was really an amazing book. And yeah, so it makes sense. It can get rid of fungus, it can help asthma, it can do all these things, right? But I didn't really remember some of the stuff because I'm like, I'm pretty healthy. And I'm like, why do I need extra salt, right? But here's the thing. I think because we're going through this massive shift on the planet, whether it be ascension upgrades or the Great Awakening or whatever you want to call it, I do believe that our physical form, as it changes or morphs, if you will, into our light bodies, whatever that means, right? That there is more requirement for salt, at least temporarily for some people. Now, why would that be? Well, here's the thing. Think of the body as an electrical system or battery. In fact, each cell is like a little battery. Of course, it has even a tinier battery inside called the mitochondria. And it is the cell potential, and kind of, I'm simplifying this, guys, but kind of like the electrical potential of the cell membrane. And we can measure that with certain instruments. And it actually reflects how healthy you are. The bigger your cell, the bigger the electrical, the way the electrical signals can go, and the healthier you are. And when you're dehydrated, the cells shrink and the electrical signals are not that good. Now, when you actually have enough salt on board, that actually helps the cells expand to its normal proper size. Now, you may or may not have heard of something called polydipsia. That is a condition where somebody drinks free water meaning non-salty water, or too much of it. You can actually die from that. Yes, you can actually die from drinking too much plain water without salt. Why? Because the sodium levels, salt is made of sodium chloride, the sodium levels in your blood is highly regulated. The amount, the percentage, okay, just like a lot of your electrolytes in the body are highly regulated. The calcium, the magnesium, the potassium, the sodium, the chloride, etc. When it goes out of balance, it can spell disaster. So when someone drinks too much water, not enough salt, for example, on a very, very hot day, or during, for example, a marathon, they drink way too much water, not knowing to drink the disgusting Gatorade, it has salt in it, they can actually end up in the ER. It can even die. Your brain gets swell. It's like awful. So having enough salt is really important. Most people are not going to drink so much water, more than 2 liters. That's going to cause that problem, right? But in hot locations like Aruba, in Texas, places like that, if you don't have enough salt and you're just drinking plain water, it could potentially be dangerous for your physical body. But the interesting thing is about not just the electrical potential, but the purification. So the salt history is very interesting. About people thought salt was very, very important. In fact, in the Roman, soldiers used to trade salt, and that was their money. You know what I mean? It was so valuable. So if salt actually does purify, and it increases the electrical potential in your body and makes it healthier, does that mean that somehow spiritually you could be more connected? Or maybe perhaps it helps us spiritually because our spiritual bodies, connected to all the other bodies we have, right, including physical and energetic, they all interplay, between each other. And perhaps those of us that do a lot of energy work need the salt, to do the work that we do without getting sick or without getting weak. Okay, these are just theories. Okay, just hear me out. Now, what's very interesting when I was doing the research about salt for today's Spiritual Medicine Digest, I'm laughing already, is, maybe it's serious, were the articles on zombies. Yes. Did you know that you could cure a zombie with salt? I had no idea. Now, if you think about it, now this is Haitian, okay, from Haiti. And they have formulas to make zombies as well, apparently. But salt cures zombies. So I think that's so interesting around that concept, right? You're like, Dr. Karen, why are you talking about zombies? Well, there is some humor and some slight seriousness out there on the web around people having, let's say, that their discernment has disappeared, that they've been brainwashed or programmed or zombie-like, and so they just kind of go about their day and are completely oblivious to what's going on in the world. Okay, well, I don't see anybody out there eating brains. Of course, I live in a small town, so who knows what happens, in the middle of Los Angeles, right? I have no idea. Anyway, and the funny thing is I used to really like zombie movies. I don't know, I just thought they were, funny. By the way, Warm Bodies is a zombie movie I actually like the actor in there, and he actually comes back to being human. So cool. It still is a zombie movie, so if you're not into grossness, don't watch it. But isn't that interesting, right? So what is it about salt that brings us back to life, that brings us back to consciousness? So there must be something about salt, energy, and consciousness. It's very interesting. So if you do some muscle testing, you may want to check how optimized are my salt levels in my body and get that out of 100%. Obviously, you want to be near 100%, right? Like I said, you don't have to worry about being oversalted. Of course, I have to say, check with your medical provider, right? And read the book, The Salt Fix, about that. The other thing you can check is a couple of things when it comes to minerals of all types, including salt. If you muscle test, check how well can I absorb salt, or how optimally can I absorb salt in this body, okay? How optimally can I assimilate salt? How optimally can I utilize salt? And if you're like, well, that's too many words, Dr. Karen, you can just say one sentence, one question, which is, how well can I process salt in my body? Okay, so that'll include absorption, assimilation, utilization, conversion, all sorts of things. Anyway, so without going into too much detail, so you can just ask that simple question if you don't want to use all the big words. And it'd be really easy to test, if you muscle test, whether or not you need more salt if you do more energy work. So if you are a professional energy healer, you may want to check on the days that you're doing a lot of energy healing. What is your requirement for salt? Assuming it's good quality salt, right? What's your requirements for salt that day versus a day where you're not doing as much energy work? Now, if you're an athlete like me, and you're sweating, doing CrossFit type workouts, things like that, probably need more salt anyway. But it'd be really interesting to see. So if you decide to do this little mini test, I would love for you to comment and let me know what you found out for yourself. Okay, so what's the TOLPAKAN Healing Activation for this week? What we're going to do, if you want to receive, just make the intention to receive. We're going to go to stillness together, the quantum realm. And we are going to do some TOLPAKAN healing to help your body, your form, to process salt optimally. We'll even download the frequency of the best salt that you need, whatever that is, for your body. If you don't need it, it won't download to you. So don't worry about being over-salted. It's just the frequency of salt, okay? Now, you may still need more, salt to be ingested. But just a hint, in case you're running for the potato chips, or in my case, the Calvi's Harvest Snap Greens. Not that that's the perfect thing, but I'm not perfect in my diet, okay? And you want some salt, then, you may want to get it from better sources. Okay, so let's do this activation together. If you are driving, just be careful not to close your eyes, obviously. And let's go ahead and rub our hands, get some heat going, get some energy going into the hands, get them flowing there, and then relax your hands, close your eyes. If it's safe for you to do so, focus on the inside of your body. Feel the energy or movement or heat or waves or tingles in the hand area. Follow the flow wherever it goes. It could go up your arms, it could go down the body, right side, left side, it doesn't really matter. Just follow the flow without any judgment. Just let it be there. Continue following that feeling, that movement. Continue doing that as I do the TOLPAKAN Healing Directive. We're going to direct these frequencies and energies to do our self-healing. Just make the intention to receive. I now command that your ability to process sodium chloride and all the other minerals be healed, optimized, and maximized in the highest and best way, all directions of time and all times where you exist where relevant, with speed, ease, and grace. That includes absorption, assimilation, utilization, and distribution. and anything else I forgot. It's now commanded that the frequency of the highest vibration of sodium chloride and any minerals that you need right now be downloaded and activated in you. The highest and best way, all directions of time, is speed, ease, and grace. And let's do an Ascension 3 24/7 order in case you are allowed to have it. Some of us are, some of us aren't. Those with higher spiritual responsibilities may actually have to do testing on themselves. Okay, so I'm going to go in, connect with my Ascension 3 pyramid. Okay. All right, so for everyone that's listening to this and who's allowed, go ahead and optimize their salt levels, their ability to process salt, and download and activate the ideal frequency of salt to them 24/7 at singularity speed. Thank you. All right, thank you, Ascension 3. All right, so by the way, the Ascension 3 store is currently closed, but will reopen early November. So you definitely want to get in on it during that, because we will have a brand new stock of the 3R formula, which is really helpful during the winter months. I'm not going to say more about that. And we'll have some stretchy 13 chakra bracelets as well, limited number, but we will have some of those also for sale then as well. Okay, so let's do some announcements. Oh, by the way, if you have your eyes closed, you can open them now. I'd love for you to comment below the video. Let me know how it feels in the body after that particular activation. So Monday's LifeWave radio show, have the great pleasure of airing the podcast between me, an interview with the amazing, wonderful David Schmidt, the CEO of LifeWave. I'm a big fan of that company. Their phototherapy patches have absolutely changed my life, helped me with symptoms of chronic fatigue and chronic pain back in the day when I had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. So wonderful for these symptoms. And we're going to talk about, what's the big whoop about stem cells? You know what I mean? We're talking about stem cells. And recently the FDA, FTC, has decided that any mention of stem cell therapy must be classified as a drug. So just letting you know, we will not be talking about how the phototherapy patches enhance stem cell activity, because we're not allowed to say that. So, but we are going to talk about some of the some of the science, behind that. More about AHK and GHK copper peptide, which I think would be really good for you to know about. So we'll do the best we can. Well, actually, we had a great time. So we did the best we can, kind of self-censoring while we were talking. And so if you're interested to find out more about the possibilities of what you can do when you potentially can make your stem cells younger. Okay, I'm getting into censor ground here, so I'm going to just stop talking. The link to the show is near this video, so you can click the link, and even if you can't make it live, you can watch it later. We had a fantastic time. He's such a wonderful person. The other announcement that I have is that the Electric Universe, that 4-part docuseries, which I am in number 2 and 3, is actually doing an encore this weekend. So super, super excited about that. So if you missed it last weekend, you can watch it again this weekend. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like my part in it, of course. Yeah, so anyway, so I gotta run. The LifeWave conference in Florida is happening. So without further ado, I'm gonna take off. Love you guys, and we will see you and talk to you next week. We'll see what Source has in store for us to let you know about. In the meantime, happy salting. Bye for now.